All right, a very big welcome to you, my awesome viewers and subscribers. This is another episode on The Truth with Ben Jokes, your trusted political talk show. Lagos Council election. Residents kick against Tinubu's son, Sheyi, over alleged imposition of candidates. At this point, I can say without any iota of doubt that this family is under a spell. This is beyond politics. This is no longer normal. There is a spell at work here. And the spell, I believe, was cast on the Tinubu family by the devil himself. Lucifer has chosen that family to help him continue to oppress people. But you know who is under a spell that is worse than the one cast on Tinubu family? It is the people. If the people of the Southwest, under whatever condition, accept to serve Sheyi Tinubu after serving his father for many years, then they are under the worst spell ever. And judging from Sheyi Tinubu's utterances, especially his speech in Yobe State, where he appeared high on drugs and called his father the greatest president ever, it is obvious that he will be worse than Tinubu. Already, he wants to determine who becomes the Yaloja. He wants to determine who becomes the president of National Association of Nigerian Students. And back in Aso Rock, he has displaced Shetima as Tinubu's vice. What a calamity. And few hours ago, two videos began making the rounds all the way from Ghana. Many Nigerians watched these videos and concluded that Nigeria has no government. The first video indirectly shows that Tinubu knows nothing about leadership, but it was the second video that absolutely disgraced Tinubu and Nigeria. There is no way ECOWAS would still want this kind of man as their leader. After seeing this video and several other things that have been happening in Nigeria in the last 23 months. Before I show you videos of these top stories and how Nigerians reacted, let me quickly show you this one. This video is an interview featuring Onopasa, an APC chief. He made it clear that he will not be supporting Tinubu in 2027. You need to see this video, please. Let's watch.
It's a question of us ruling well. And in that angle, we have failed woefully. President Bola Tinubu has failed woefully to rule well, to provide food for Nigerians, to give them succor in this hard times. I'm not leaving my party for anybody. I'm a foundational member of the APC. And I'm not leaving it for anybody, including President Tinubu. Now, if you see the truth, you see the Bible says, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. You cannot pretend, even you, Reuben, you can't pretend that there is no hunger in the land. You cannot pretend that people are not finding it difficult to make ends meet. That's all. In fact, when Bola Tinubu called us to support him, he promised to make food cheap. You know, at that time we were being insulted. We are Agbadorians. We are this, we are that. You know. So we told him, we said, let us just produce food. And that's what he promised us. Only for him to come to power and then, in fact, only God understands what he's doing. That's his headache. I'm not leaving my party for anybody. Not at all. But I'm certainly not supporting him for 2027. And I'm going to make sure, going to gather with, it's not even PDP people. PDP is just a ridiculous party. They are not serious. It is us in APC who are dissatisfied with him, that who put him in power. We are the ones that will remove him from the power. I can assure you of that, Ruben.
You saw that. The APC is a party that is already imploding. But many don't know because they are the ones in power. But time will tell. I remember how this same Onopasa insulted Rufai Hussaini on this same Arise because Rufai spoke against Tinubu. Today, he had realized that Tinubu is a massive failure, shameless set of people. You had a good candidate right in front of you from southern Nigeria, but you chose to support a brain-dead man because he paid you. Now elections are over. You have been paid for your support. It is time to go. Oh, you thought he was going to carry you along in the government? No, sorry, Tinubu is not like that. He's not a Democrat. like you, he is also after his pocket, and he has been filling his pocket and the pockets of those around him. He said Tinubu promised them he would make food cheap. Really? Peter Obi had the best manifesto on agriculture and food production in Nigeria. If you were interested in Nigerians buying cheap food, you would have supported Obi, not Tinubu. And even now that you said you are prepared to work against Tinubu, who are you going to work for? That is another test of integrity that you obviously will fail. And it pleases me to see those who work for Tinubu suffer like this. They are the ones suffering the most in his regime. Those who are not suffering financially are falling sick left, right, and center. Take a look at some of the comments concerning Mr. Okpasa right there in this video. Referring to the interviewee, Mr. Okpasa, Heart here says, the man looks skinny and weak. Is he okay? His interview 2 years ago, he was looking better than this video. He really looks like someone suffering or ill health. And last style bender replied, he said, I think say now only me notice him. I hope he is okay. He seems to have lost a lot of weight, especially in the neck area. And this tweet here says, who noticed that Onokpasa is now looking unnaturally slim, like he's sick or something? Well, they are right. Mr. Onokpasa is not well. I noticed that immediately I began watching this video. So, like Wike, Onokpasa played a major role in getting Tinubu's southern votes. Today, they are both sick. What a world. Now, let us look at the top stories. 2 videos from Ghana that show that Tinubu is a disgrace to leadership in Africa. The first one indirectly shows Tinubu what it means to be courageous as a leader, especially on security matters. And the second video was an absolute disgrace. I don't think ECOWAS will still want this kind of man as their leader after considering all this. Let's take the first video. This one is from a mayor in Ghana. See the video.
If you're a cattle owner and you have cattle and your cattle stray and they are coming into the domain of KMA, be rest assured that from the 1st of May, those cattle will be killed and be given to the Kumasi Central Prisons for feeding. Especially the areas from the airport leading up to Menchia. I cannot sit here and let visitors get to this beautiful airport. And when they're driving to Menchia, all that they encounter is feces from cattle. This is unacceptable.
You saw that. Now, that was a mayor in Ghana talking about how decisively he had resolved to deal with Fulani headsmen in Ghana. And in case you don't know, the Fulani invasion that we are witnessing in Nigeria today is being attempted in many African countries, especially West African countries that are in ECOWAS. Traore of Burkina Faso, the leader of Burkina Faso, has dealt with his own decisively. The juntas of Mali and Niger Republic have dealt with their headsmen problem decisively. Now, that is a leader in Ghana we just saw in that video, also issuing ultimatums. But here in Nigeria, Tinubu is losing control of Benue and Plateau State to Fulani headsmen because of insincerity and the lack of political will to fight terrorists, to the point that 39-year-old president of Chad, Mahamad Idris Deby, said he was going to pull his troops out of the joint task force with Nigeria to fight insurgency around the African borders. He said Nigeria was not sincere in the fight against insurgency, that he was going to pull out of the joint force. And ECOWAS, they are saying all these things unless they are a group of unserious human beings. But if you look at the way the president of Ghana is governing his country, you look at the way the president of Angola, you look at the way all these other countries in ECOWAS are governing, and with the fact that some of the countries have started pulling out, blaming the leadership for being weak, I don't think ECOWAS would want to continue with a man like Tinubu, who cannot even decisively deal with Fulani headsmen in his own state. And just as Nigerians were yet reacting to that clip from the mayor of Ghana, that second video, still from Ghana, began circulating. This one directly humiliates Tinubu and Nigeria. Nigerian youths ran away from Nigeria because of Tinubu's failure to Ghana in search of greener pastures. They eventually met their Waterloo in the hands of Ghanaian government. Then the Ghanaian authorities called Tinubu to come and pack his people, and he sent Bianca Ojukwu a walk of shame. See the video.
Odumegwu Ojukwu spoke against the backdrop of her visit to the Economic and Organized Crimes Office in Accra, Ghana, where the victims of trafficking were detained. She also reinstated the federal government's commitment to providing the youth with technical education and skills to curb growing unemployment. She commended the executive director of EOCO, Bashir Dapla, for the treatment meted to the victims. According to her, trafficking is modern slavery and man's inhumanity to man, describing it as exploitation of innocent young people, callous and inhuman. The minister urged Nigerian youth to shun people who may promise them irresistible job offers outside shores of the country, explaining it might just be a bait to lure them into slavery. She stated that Nigerian High Commission in Ghana alerted her of the incident and how the victims were held under inhuman conditions by the perpetrators before the sting operation which exposed the evil syndicates. She said that prior to their rescue, the boys had been locked up in about 25 rooms within the estate where they were used to perpetrate cyber crimes, adding that at the time of the arrest, many of them been locked inside confined spaces with computers for weeks on end without being let outside, were even unable to get their eyes to adjust to the sun when they were let outside those dark rooms. She urged the traffic victims to consider themselves lucky to be rescued, saying that many had lost their lives in similar circumstances while others rot in jails across the world. She urged the victims to take advantage of this second chance that God had made possible for them by keying into some of the intervention programs of the federal government. The visit was also on the sideline of the inauguration of the 50th anniversary of ECOWAS and the extraordinary session of the ECOWAS Council of Ministers on the withdrawal of Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso from the group.
Wow, you saw that. What a shame. Over 200 Nigerian youths humiliated in Ghana because they ran out of Nigeria, in search of greener pastures in Ghana of all places. So Ghana has now become a country that is far better than Nigeria. And then they found themselves being used as internet fraudsters, and they got caught by the Ghanaian government, and after humiliating them, they called Tinubu to come and pack them. There are several other young people. In fact, this 219, or what is that number, is just a fraction of the number of Nigerian youths that are in Ghana. There was a time Ghanaians were trooping into Nigeria in search of greener pastures. That was when Ghana Must Go became popular, when Nigerians wanted them to leave. Today, the story has changed drastically. The other day, an oil company left Nigeria and moved to Angola to invest. A very, very huge investment. They said because Angola is a more stable country than Nigeria in terms of everything. They listed all the economic indices and they said Angola was more stable. Look at what is happening in Burkina Faso. Look at what is happening in Mali. Go to all other African countries. World Bank released an update yesterday and they said Nigeria, Congo and 2 other countries had the highest number of poor people in the world. In Africa, Nigeria, we are close to being the worst country in Africa as we speak. If you are not following the news, you will not know how bad Nigeria has retrogressed under the APC, especially in the last 23 months under Tinubu. Unless other ECOWAS leaders are crazy, there is no way you would want a man that has completely destroyed his own country to come and become the leader of ECOWAS. And that is why these countries that have sense are pulling out. They have seen that there is nothing good about that association again. And ultimately, it is a slap on the face of Africa. If Nigeria as a country does not have the sense to impeach Tinubu, then ECOWAS should have the sense to throw this man away. Look at how the mayor of Ghana is dealing decisively with the issue of headsmen in his country. Burkina Faso has dealt decisively with it. Mali and other African countries decisively. But look at Tinubu losing Benue and Plateau State to Fulani headsmen, 2/3 of Benue State has been taken over. Several communities in Plateau State taken over and renamed after headsmen. Tinubu should take a back seat when African leaders gather. That is the whole truth. But who bears the brunt of his failure? It is the people, it is you and I, and it cannot get better. It will continue to get worse in the hands of the APC. And that is why I keep telling Nigerians, urging Nigerians, that if we want our country back, we know what to do. We must keep aside these sentiments that have held us back for so many years. Ditch these aboriginal sentiments, unite and take our country back. But until then, make I still enter town, make I go get some ogbonge political news wey una go like. Why? Because of una na I dey here, so don't go away.